Okay, here we go. I know I'm like 2 months late with this video, but I thought I might as well give my 2 cents on this topic. Mostly because I've never seen an idea so good yet executed so poorly. And no, it's not because I didn't understand the messages behind it that were practically laid out for me in the final battle, but because the messages were delivered so poorly that it made some guy on the internet with less than 500 subscribers to his name think that he can do better than a $27 million production setup. So that's what we'll be doing today. I'll go over how this film should have gone while you eat your breakfast, or midnight snack if the YouTube algorithm decided to screw me over. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content and want to see more of it. Then check out the Patreon if you want to waste $3. Okay, let's get into it. Him is not a movie that is unwatchably bad. It's just very disappointing and underwhelming. It's kind of like raising a child for 18 years only for them to end up in prison, or worse. And that may sound like hyperbole on my part to the people that like this movie, but you clicked on this video to hear the perspective of someone who didn't like it, so just bear with me here. Pun intended. Let's start with a few things that this movie got right. The first is the soundtrack. The soundtrack has a very good blend of eerie suspense and the main genre that every young teen in the hood wants to be a part of. You thought I was gonna say black, right? Well, joke's on you because I'm an equal opportunist when it comes to my hatred, and the soundtrack being goated is best shown in the post-credit scene, as well as the alternate ending, both of which weren't in the movie by the way. Another good quality is the cinematography. A lot of the shots in this movie are so good they almost distract you from the lack of substance this movie has to offer, which seems impossible, but Johnny Sins taught me that if you put your mind to it, any career is possible. I mean, the trailer has some of the best cinematography in this movie, especially the final shot before the title card, but would you believe me if I told you that this part wasn't in the movie as well? Of course you would. After all, I do believe that everyone is special enough to be a part of the 1% of the people watching this that will believe the things Grok told them about politics and the economy. Nothing. I just thought it'd be good to crack a mildly funny joke. Okay, I'll make sure to put your opinion in the I don't give a fuck bin. Moving on, Marlon Wayans was easily the best part of this movie. His range was so crazy you'd think he wasn't the comedic actor in Scary Movie. Not to say the other actors didn't do their job right, it's just that Marlon was the MVP here. No hard feelings. What else was good about this movie? Then we might as well go straight into the insults, the critiques I have for this movie. Literally everything else is what's wrong with this movie. The editing makes this flick feel like it's all over the place at some points, and no, it's not like the good disorganized feeling you get in The Bear. It's more like you don't know why certain things are happening and feel disconnected from the characters. Which is funny because I'm not the only person that said this.
But there's nothing like really fleshed out about it. There's nothing to care about, and there's nothing to get invested in story-wise. It's kind of a mess. And most people are saying the same thing, style over substance, and that's very true.
The plot feels less like a thriller and more like the inner workings of a 20-year-old's mind as he battles against a CTE. And I'll admit, if that's what they were going for, then they either failed spectacularly or succeeded miserably. It really depends on how you look at it. Of course, I could go on about how bad the plot is, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Aside from feeling like a jumbled mess that would make the average viewers who watch Hoarders blush, it just feels tasteless. You get the same old tired supernatural cult routine where the main character has to stop them instead of making things interesting, like the main character actually succumbing to the advances of the cult and joining them, which is exactly why the alternate ending being cut is so disappointing. The movie would have been infinitely better had Cameron chosen to sell his soul for success. It would have put a realistic spin on the movie, as well as actually set a horrific precedent, knowing that within the world of him, the demonic cycle continues. And speaking of cut content, all of the deleted scenes in this movie would have made it a lot more tolerable. Notice that I said tolerable and not better. The characters are also pretty bad too. Everyone except Cameron Cade and Isaiah White are either bland, useless, or annoying, and not in a good way. It's kind of the way that unlocks the monkey part of your brain that made anti-religious people come to the conclusion that humanity and apes share a common ancestor. And speaking of monkey brain, are we seriously not going to talk about the final shot of the trailer not making it into the fucking movie? It was literally the best shot in the entire film. Now that I've gone over every single problem that plagued this movie's existence, it's time I become the beacon of hope and present to you an idea, or more like an outline of what this movie should have been and go into detail on every single way this movie could have been better. You could say this is borderline arrogant of me to think that I can do better than actual directors and scriptwriters, and to that, you'd be right, but I'ma still do it anyway, for the love of the game. Cameron Cade is the protagonist of the movie, and the incident involving his attack is what starts it off. My first step is to completely remove the attack, and instead have the first scene in the movie be a football game, where we're told Cameron's history with the sport, as Cameron himself plays against the opposing team. One of them intentionally hitting him in the skull, cracking it and leading to a massive injury requiring stitches. The player in question is banned, and absolutely torn up by the internet the same way a college student would if they said the M-word or broke some guy's piano. After which, we'll see a flashback of him as a child watching Isaiah's game where he got a massive injury that caused him to retire early. His father stating that if he really was the greatest, then he would push past the injury. A cold statement, but a response that seems a lot more believable when you realize that he's a Marine. After all, pain is just weakness leaving the body. This opening is not only to incorporate an actual football game into the movie where even though it's about football, there wasn't a single game in it, but to also solve the problem that Moist Critical mentioned earlier.
Most of the movie is kind of just like a bunch of scenes thrown together without really giving you any reason to care about like even the main character and what he's going through.
Afterwards, he gains massive media attention similar to that not so random Japanese office worker, but due to the trauma he sustained from his injury, the events become jumbled up and he starts believing that he has to sacrifice everything else in his life just like he did with his head to be the best. He'll see hallucinations of his attacker, friends, family, fans, and his girlfriend, along with forgetting things that were integral to who he is as a person. Remember in The Sixth Sense how the color red will be attributed to a dead person? Yeah, well, that same thing happens in this movie too. He'll meet Isaiah White, who takes him under his wing to do what he couldn't and succeed past his limits. But Cameron feels something's wrong. Not the fact that the best football quarterback is taking him under his wing out of the blue and seemingly out of the kindness of his heart with nothing to gain, but the fact that something satanic crawls into the crack of his skull. Cameron starts seeing different people, things, and symbols, all rooted in a satanic form wherever he goes. But these aren't just hallucinations, they are the work of Isaiah White, who in this movie will be the vessel for the devil. Throughout the movie, Cameron will cut off every single aspect of his life, each corresponding to one of the 7 deadly sins. He'll be with Isaiah, the two acting almost like father and son, with the father teaching his son everything he knows about the league and its inner workings. After all, he can't train due to the injury. And by the end of the movie, the two will be eating in a nice restaurant in front of a mural. The mural itself is called An Angel Leading a Soul into Hell.
Why does these details matter?
Don't worry, Mark, I'll get to that in a sec. Isaiah will present to Cameron a deal. In exchange for whatever Isaiah wants, Cameron will not only be able to push past his injury and succeed, but he will succeed so much that he'll make history. Similar to that one musician who's a legend of the blues. Cameron then asks what exactly Isaiah would want in return, to which Isaiah will just smile, one of his eyes shedding a tear of blood. Cameron will then stand up to walk away, but it's a fake out as he stands in front of the hellish mural and raises both of his arms, signaling a cross. And that is where we'll get the title card. In the post-credit scene, it'll be Cameron celebrating with his team as the news reporter details how Cameron overcame his injury and became the world's greatest football quarterback in history. He briefly mentions that some people believe he made a deal with the devil to get this good, but the reporter just states that Cameron told him personally his values on religion.
God, family, football.
And as the football keeps spinning on the ground, the camera cuts to black. Sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to bring your attention to something important. And don't worry, it's not Raid Shadow Legends. At least not yet. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. That way I can prove to both myself and my family that I can actually make this a career and that I haven't been wasting the past 10 years of my life. And before you say it, yes, I know that sounds pathetic. And yes, I know I'm practically on my knees like a corn star for subs from strangers on the internet. But let's be honest here. You'd be in the same boat if you had a chance to do what you love for a living. So give me the HBO special and help a brother out. I'm inclined to also get you to look at my Patreon too, but I'll hold off on that for now. Can't ask for too much, you know. Alright, back to the video. In another post-credit scene, yes there will be 2 of them, Isaiah will be shown in an empty football stadium just like the alternate ending, and everything will be just the same, the only difference being that Isaiah himself will be crying not out of sadness that Cameron's now taken his place, but out of joy that he fulfilled his mission in helping his daughter. You see, Isaiah White was a Christian family man that had a daughter with cancer. The chances of her beating it were astronomically low, yet he still turned to everything to prevent losing her, using all the riches and resources he gained from his football career to maintain that mission. But when he got injured and was forced to retire, he had hit a wall. He couldn't pay for his daughter's treatment to help her fight it, and had almost lost all hope, until a man came to him with a deal he could not refuse. If he were to help the person he wanted succeed and get them to sell their soul to him, then his daughter would not only survive, but would be in perfect condition for the rest of her life, having no diseases or physical impairments ever. The only thing Isaiah would have to give in return is his own soul. And in the same fashion with Cameron, Isaiah will shed a tear at the fact that he's going against his own Christian values and take the deal. Like I said earlier, Him is not a movie that's unwatchably bad like other people would say. It's just very disappointing. It's like being in 2019 again and seeing season 8 of Game of Thrones for the first time. It's really sad to see when potential goes to waste. But what are you gonna do? Make your own movie? No, you're not gonna talk me into it. Subscribe to the channel if you liked my video and my commentary. Check out the Patreon if you want behind the scenes content, as well as Patreon exclusive videos. I already got a couple in the chamber, by the way. And thanks for watching.
Prepare for the horrors. This night